Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. After converting Pat Spencer's contract to a standard NBA contract, the Golden State Warriors had a roster spot available with a two-way contract. On Monday, the Warriors filled that position by signing point guard Nate Williams, formerly of the Los Angeles Nets. With Williams' arrival, the Warriors gained more options on the bench at point guard, especially after Buddy Hield's departure at the trade deadline. For a Warriors team already dealing with the strain of an 82-game season, the addition of a young and healthy player should be advantageous. The signing of Nate Williams now brings the Warriors roster to 14 standard deals and 3 two-way contracts. Under a two-way contract, Williams is limited to the amount of games he can be active for, but with the Warriors only having 27 games remaining in the regular season, he isn't in any danger of using up those games. Williams won't be able to play in the playoffs, however. After spending training camp with the Los Angeles Lakers, Williams had been playing this season with the Long Island Nets, the Brooklyn Nets affiliate in the G League. He had appeared in 35 games, at just about 34 minutes per game. He had been averaging 18.4 points, 6.0 rebounds, 2.5 assists and 1.8 steals with splits of 47.2% shooting from the field, 36.5% shooting from the three-point line and 80% shooting from the free throw line. After going undrafted in the 2022 NBA Draft, Williams got his NBA start when he signed with the Portland Trail Blazers near the tail end of the 2022-23 season. That was his best stretch to this point, averaging a career-best 10.6 points and shooting 61.5% from the field in 5 games. He spent the 2023-24 and 2024-25 seasons with the Houston Rockets. After the All-Star break, the Warriors will resume play on Thursday, February 19 against the Boston Celtics. They are currently 29-26 and in 8th place in the Western Conference standings. Bolstered by the deadline addition of Kristaps Porzingis, the Warriors will look to make a push during the final months of the regular season. Extending the contract between Porzingis and Draymond Green could be key in the Warriors' negotiations to acquire a big star. Warriors could still land one of their 2 biggest trade targets this offseason. The Golden State Warriors targeted Giannis Antetokounmpo and Trey Murphy III this trade season, but in the end they settled for a Kristaps Porzingis trade. But that doesn't mean their pursuits of Antetokounmpo and Murphy are finished. The Third Apron's Yossi Goslin wrote the following about the Warriors. It'll be interesting to see how they handle Porzingis and Green's contract negotiations. Both can be extended to new deals now that could keep them trade eligible for the offseason. For example, they could structure their first-year salaries so both can be aggregated for a max player like Antetokounmpo, $58.5 million. Or, they can give them starting salaries so one can be traded straight up for a target like Murphy, $27 million. Porzingis' contract extension could be key trade chip. The Warriors have until June 30 to give Porzingis a contract extension. If they wait until past that date, they can still sign and trade him as an unrestricted free agent, but that would hardcap the Warriors at the first apron. To be blunt, the Warriors can't build a competitive enough roster if hardcapped at the first apron. They need to have the ability to at least get to the second apron, which projects be about $13 million higher than the first apron. For example, that $13 million could be the difference between keeping both Guy Santos and DeAnthony Melton or having neither. Giannis has a $58.5 million salary next season. The most realistic way to have enough outgoing salary to acquire him is to include Porzingis and Green in a trade. So if the Warriors want to be major players in the Giannis offseason trade sweepstakes, they need to extend Porzingis. Their other option is to re-sign Porzingis in the offseason, wait for his trade restriction to lift, and then use him as part of a trade for a star at next season's trade deadline. There's nothing wrong with this route, but note that Giannis might get traded in the offseason while Porzingis still has a trade restriction. Green has several contract options. Let's go over Green's contract options and what they mean for a potential offseason trade. First, Green can sign a contract extension before the season ends that would make him eligible to be traded in the offseason. Green might not be open to doing this because it would give the Warriors full control over Green's future. They could trade him anywhere without his consent. Second, Green can exercise the $27.7 million player option in his contract. If the Warriors were looking to trade him, he could tell them he'll only exercise it if he ends up somewhere he wants to be, giving him control. Third, Green could decline the player option and re-sign with the Warriors on a multi-year deal, probably at a lower annual rate to give the team more cap flexibility. If he does this, he'll have a trade restriction, so this would guarantee the Warriors can't immediately flip him for someone else. Warriors have to make draft pick-heavy offers to Bucks, Pelicans. The Warriors will have the same issue this offseason that they had during the trade season. They don't have young players that will entice the Bucks and Pelicans. So to make up for that, they'll need to trade more draft capital than other suitors. Whether the Warriors are dealing Green or Porzingis for Murphy, they'll probably have to attach 3 first-round picks to make up for the fact the Pelicans aren't getting a young talent return. If the Warriors trade for Giannis, they'll likely have to include at least 4 first-round picks, including whoever they take with their 2026 first-rounder, and 2 first-round pick swaps. Either way, it's a big price to pay, but it might be worth it to have a big 3 with Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and either Giannis or Murphy. Warriors face a Brandon Podziemski problem immediately after Jonathan Kuminga trade. When Jonathan Kuminga was traded to the Atlanta Hawks last week, Brandon Podziemski, whether rightly or wrongly, assumed the mantle of the most talented or at least most talked about young player at the Golden State Warriors. The problem with that is things have gone south for Podziemski in recent games, and so much so that the 23-year-old may see a significant dip in his role and playing time after the All-Star break. Warriors have a Brandon Podziemski problem after Jonathan Kuminga trade. After trading their former 7th overall pick in Kuminga, the Warriors would ideally have Podziemski step up and prove that the post-Stephen Curry era at the franchise doesn't appear like all doom and gloom. Yet Podziemski's current form has said anything but, despite the former 19th overall pick averaging nearly 28 minutes over the past 5 games. During this period where Golden State have desperately needed more offensive production in Curry's absence, Podziemski has averaged only 10.8 points, 4.0 rebounds, and 2.8 assists on just 39.6% shooting from the floor and 24% from three-point range. Perhaps of more concern, the Warriors have been outscored by 56 points in Podziemski's minutes over the past 5 games, easily the worst plus-minus of any player, which is an unusual position given he's led the team in that category over his first 2 seasons. Now, with Curry set to return after the All-Star break from a knee injury, and with Kristaps Porzingis also expected to make his debut with the franchise, Podziemski could be one of the major casualties from a rotation crunch. Fellow youngsters Moses Moody and Gueye Santos have been more impressive than Podziemski and should see more minutes, and so too veteran guard Anthony Melton, all of whom have been in starting roles over recent games. Podziemski may retain a more prominent rotation role than Pat Spencer, but the fact it's even debatable isn't a great look given the 29-year-old has just had his 2-way contract converted to a standard deal last Saturday. There was hope, particularly after earning all-rookie first-team honors 2 years ago, that by now Podziemski would have separated himself from the pack and become a bona fide 30-minute-per-game starter. That just hasn't consistently been the case, leaving Podziemski as just another rotation question mark for Steve Kerr, and with the Warriors facing an even bleaker future after giving up on the Kuminga experiment last week. Kristaps Porzingis trade slammed as part of most overrated list. Porzingis was acquired nearly 2 weeks ago in a deal that sent Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield to the Atlanta Hawks, but Golden State have been cautious with the former All-Star who hasn't appeared in a game since January 7, where he played nearly 22 minutes against the New Orleans Pelicans. It's those injury concerns that are the primary reason why Porzingis ranks 4th in a recent list of the top 10 most overrated players in the league, according to Greg Swartz of Bleacher Report. Swartz has slammed the trade before Porzingis even steps foot on the floor for the Warriors, labeling it a foolish decision. After already losing Jimmy Butler for the season with a torn ACL, the Warriors putting their eggs in the Porzingis basket was a foolish decision that won't get them anywhere in the postseason, should they even make it that far, Schwartz wrote. There's no denying Porzingis' injury and health issues, making for the claim that he's overrated because the Latvian is far more idea than reality at this point. Porzingis has played more than 57 games in a season just once since his second year with the New York Knicks way back in 2016-17. Schwartz also points to the fact that Porzingis is averaging the least amount of points, 17.1, since his rookie year, a career low in rebounds, 5.1, and an equal career low in blocks, 1.3, to strengthen his overrated argument. However, to play devil's advocate for a second, Porzingis is doing that while averaging easily a career low in minutes, 24.8. His per 36 numbers this season are very comparable to that of his career, and are actually far better when it comes to points and assists. Again, that goes back to the injury/health concerns and his inability to stay on the floor, yet it's not as if Porzingis has been a significantly worse version of himself when he's actually been available this season. It's not ideal for Warrior fans to see Porzingis on a most overrated list before he even makes his debut, but hopefully it's simply another source of motivation for the 7 feet 2 inches big man who should already be eager to impress given it's a contract year.